Okay, next we're going to move into the HRA. And with the HRA, it's paired with a high deductible health plan. So you do need to take that high deductible health plan that we talked about before, the 2,000 single, 4,000 family, in order to get the HRA through Anoka County. Anoka County sets aside money that you can use to pay for your health care expenses, and it's used to offset higher deductible. The amounts will roll over, and if you're a termed employee, employees with 1 or more years of benefit eligible services are able to spend down their account until the balance is 0 or 36 months, whichever is first.
If you have the regular $20 copay plan, you can't do healthcare deductions?
Correct. So the question was, if you have the regular $20 copay plan, can you do the HRA? Was that your question? Yep, we'll talk about the flexible spending next, but if you take the Aware copay plan, this would not apply to you, this HRA plan. That's only if you take the high deductible health plan.
So the health reimbursement account is different than the flex spending accounts, which is your own money that you put aside for out-of-pocket expenses. The health reimbursement account is tied to that high deductible, and the idea is funds that the county's putting into that account to help offset that deductible for you.
Question?
And the amount of money that you have in your HRA that is unused from the county this year, I think I read that it will transfer to...
Correct. It'll roll over each year. Yep.
And how do you know how much rolls over? Do you get an end-of-the-year statement?
Yeah, the question was, you know, confirming that your unused funds from this year roll over, and how do you know how much is there? There's two. If you're right now on the Health Partners plan, probably the easiest thing to do is at the end of the year, go out to healthpartners.com and you can look at your account balances there. And there's actually a run-out period because hopefully no one has any, you know, major medical in December. But if something does occur, you want to make sure you can still tap into any unused funds for 2012. So you'll continue to have access to those 2012 funds for any 2012 expenses up through April 15th. Once that run-out period is over, all of that will transfer over to Blue Cross Blue Shield and be added to your 2013 account, and then you'll also see it there. So you'll, up until end of the year and that run-out, you can always access it on Health Partners, and then you'll have your Blue Cross Blue Shield account where you'll have all of your 2013 funds, and will also, when those 2012 get rolled over, have access to those in that combined bucket. Does that make sense? Correct. The question was the contribution for 2013. If you have single coverage and choose the high deductible program, the county provides $1,000 for 2013. If you have family coverage, it's $2,000.
Do you have a question?
So if you switch plans, like I'm on the high deductible plan now, and you switch to the $20 copay plan, how about any leftover money from?
Question was is if you go from the copay program to the HR, I did that backwards. If you go from the health reimbursement, high deductible with the health reimbursement account to the copay program, your account's basically frozen. So we would freeze that so that if you came back into the program, you would have the ability to then go back into it like if you did in 2014. Or if you did leave employment at the time you left, you would have that ability to spend it down. But not until you leave.
All right, so next we'll talk about how crossover works. Everyone is going to automatically be enrolled in our crossover feature at Select Account. We'll talk now about how that works. You'll see the doctor. If it's a participating provider with Blue Cross Blue Shield, they electronically submit the claim to us. We'll then determine your benefits, apply that to your deductible, apply our discounts. We'll then send the claim over to Select Account. Select Account is a subsidiary of Blue Cross Blue Shield. They are going to be your HRA administrator. So once we receive the claim and we apply discounts and benefits, we'll then send the claim over to Select Account. Select Account then is going to send you a check, or if you sign up for direct deposit, they'll automatically deposit that amount into your bank account. Now, anytime a claim comes into Blue Cross Blue Shield, we are going to send you an explanation of benefits to tell you how the claim was paid. So make sure you hold on to that. You're also going to get an explanation of payment from Select Account. You want to take those two and just make sure that they match up. Select account moves pretty fast, so once they receive that claim, they're going to pay out in a couple days. Your provider might not be that fast, so just make sure that you earmark those dollars, that's for the provider, because you'll need to then turn around, once you receive the bill from your provider, pay your provider with those dollars. As I said before, everybody is automatically enrolled in this crossover feature. Now, if you have double coverage, you'll want to make sure that you decline crossover. There's forms over there to decline crossover, or you can always do it on our website. And the reason for that is that we want to make sure that the claim is hitting both insurance companies before paying out. And if you're enrolled in the crossover, it's only going to hit the Blue Cross Blue Shield. It's not going to hit your secondary insurance. So again, double coverage, you'll want to make sure that you opt out of the crossover feature. You can also opt out of crossover if you just don't want crossover. If you want to just manage your own bills about what's coming out of your HRA or FSA, that's completely up to you. So anybody can opt out of crossover. That's up to you. Just know that everybody, come January 1st, will be in the crossover feature. Any questions on how that works with the medical claims here? One other thing I should note too, if you had direct deposit with Health Partners, again, you'll need to fill out a new form. Your bank information is not going to cross over to Select Account or Blue Cross. So if you want to do direct deposit with Select Account, there is a direct deposit form for you to fill out. Okay. Now if we move on to pharmacy claims and how that works with crossover, pharmacy is real time. So what that means is you'll go to the pharmacy, get your prescription filled. While you're standing at the pharmacy there, your pharmacy is going to check your benefits with Blue Cross Blue Shield and your HRA balance. So if you do have money in your HRA balance, it will automatically be withdrawn while you're standing at the pharmacy, and you'll walk away with not paying for your prescription. It will come out of your HRA. Now, if you don't have funds in your HRA, that's when then you'll need to pay for your prescription.
That's different than how it's working now, correct, Candace?
Correct. The question was if that's different than how it works now, and that is correct. Right now, you go to pick up your prescription and you have to pay, and then if there's funds in your account, you'll be reimbursed. In this case, it'll pull directly from there. So if, just using the example of single coverage, you have $1,000 that the county's providing, it would pull from that $1,000 and you'd be able to walk away with your prescription without paying anything. Now keep in mind the deductible's $2,000 though, so between that $1,000 and $2,000, you're going to pay that full cost. But once you've had $2,000 out of pocket, then everything's covered 100% and you'll be back to walking away without paying anything.
And that's if you're in the crossover feature. So if you shut that off, it shuts off for your drugs as well. Crossover, again, I should mention all or nothing. So if you have, you don't have double coverage, but you have a spouse or dependents that do have double coverage, crossover is shut off for everyone. So if crossover is shut off, then your drugs, you would have to pay for those and then manually get reimbursed. Question?
Can I just clarify, you're just talking about the HRAs and not the flex spending account?
Correct. So the question was, am I just talking about the HRA plan, not the flex? Correct. I am just talking about if you have the HRA, how that's going to work.
Okay, so if they go and check that and you have 0 on that, they will not go and check your flex spending.
We'll be getting, she's asking about with the FSA, there'll be a couple slides forward where we'll talk about if you have the two together and how they work when they're combined. Yeah, so it does get a little different if you have both a flex spending account and an HRA. But if for some reason you decide to opt out, like she says, we do have the forms up here. We've got them on our website. Or I know for a lot of employees, we're recommending after you get your ID cards, because you won't want to send that till mid-December anyway, because you want to make sure they have your information in the system. You can always do that online as well, and that's really slick to be able to just do it right there. Same with direct deposit. We have those forms up here. We've got them downstairs in Human Resources on the website. But you will be able to, once your account is set up, actually be able to do it all through the Blue Cross Blue Shield or Select Account website. And you may find that easiest, especially since I know a lot of us don't necessarily hang on to checks anymore. So if you've got that routing number and account number, you can do that all online with them.
All right, so next we'll move into the FSA here, the flexible spending account. That will be with Select Account as well. With the FSA, you're able to put aside pre-tax dollars. You pay less in federal, state, and FICA taxes. And you'll also have this crossover feature on your FSA as well. There's also dependent care. Dependent care is for any of the licensed daycare, elder care, etc. Now with your FSA, if you elect, for example, to put aside $2,500 for the year, that money is available to you January 1st. So if you need that $2,500, it is available to you. Keep in mind that you will then have to pay that $2,500 back throughout the year, each paycheck. With dependent care, it works a little different. It's only what you have available in your account at that time. So come January 1st, if you put in $100, January 2nd you need that money, all that is available to you is that $100. If we receive any dependent care claims, they will just pend until they're paid. And then if we move on to the FSA with an HRA, so the two accounts work together. When funds are used up in the first account, it then goes to the second account. Your FSA account is going to pay first, and then your HRA account, if you choose both. If you don't choose the FSA or elect the FSA, then you just have the HRA. Keep in mind your HRA account is only for medical expenses. Your FSA is for all 213D expenses. So for example, another reason why you might want to shut off crossover is if you know you have a child that's going to need braces and you want to just maximize your savings there, pull out of your FSA, and then start using your HRA. Because remember, January 1st, claims are going to start crossing over and paying out of your FSA first if you have that, and then your HRA.
Prescription vendors and both accounts?
Okay, so the question was, do prescription vendors see both accounts? The answer is yes. So your pharmacy is going to see if you have an FSA account and your HRA, they're going to pull out of your FSA first, if you have both accounts.
But as Laura mentioned, and I know we drilled this a lot last year during open enrollment as well, but if you're earmarking those flex spending account dollars for non-medical, like you said, orthodontia, glasses, contacts, dental work, you may want to opt out of the automatic reimbursement because they are going to pay you based on how they receive those claims. So for example, if you're in the crossover and you have a medical claim in January, that's going to pull from your flex spending account. And then if come June you have dental work to be done, your FSA could be depleted because of medical expenses, and you may still have all that HRA money there, but you can't use it for dental expenses. So what you end up doing is opting out of the automatic reimbursement. They're still always going to pull from FSA first, but you hold your medical claims. So you're basically fronting that money for a period of time so that you can first submit that dental receipt or orthodontia or glasses and get that money back from your flex spending account, and then go back and do your medical, be it any doctor's visits, prescriptions, hospitalization, whatever that may be. Does that make sense for everyone? I know we drilled it a lot last year, so I think a lot are starting to get that feature.
And just I'll add one quick note. So when you've gotten to that point where you've opted out, you can always opt back into crossover for your continuing medical claims to finish out. So crossover can be opted in and out at any time. Just wanted to add that.
Yeah. And with opting in and out, that was true with Health Partners, so a lot of you are familiar with that, but like she said, you can do that as well with select accounts. So if you opt out in January, February because you've got a lot of dental work to be done or you're getting all that orthodontia stuff set up, you could opt out, get that FSA funds depleted or as low as you were planning for non-medical, and then opt back in so that you can have that feature of picking up prescriptions and just having it pull from those accounts or not having to worry about track all those bills.